Hi everybody, Sunita here, welcome. So this is the final Q&A in our series of experts in alternative health. Today we're going to be meeting Dominique Antiglio. Dominique is an expert sophrologist. She is an author. She is also an advocate of the healing arts, very passionate advocate of the healing arts. Dominique's work really helps people discover a calmer, more empowered, happier self. And let's hear about the practice and the techniques. Welcome, Dominique.
Thank you, Sunita. I'm super happy to be here today. Really excited to see you again and share with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last time I saw you was actually we were hosting an event for the meditation teacher David G, and you were one of our guests on the panel. So that was 2 years ago. Time flies.
I can't believe it. Yeah, it was such a cool event. Yeah, thank you. You're so active on promoting everybody's work. So thanks, Sunita. Yeah.
Well, great to have you here. So Dominique, tell us, what experience led you to working with sophrology?
So I think it's simply my own journey into healing. Yeah, I think as a 15-year-old coming from Switzerland, I was going through a tough time where my body was not doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, so suddenly I became very tired. I experienced recurrent in all sorts of little infection in my body that would not clear. I started to be always tired to the point that I was sometimes fainting for no reason. Yeah, I was just kind of in the street or at school or at the hairdresser, and suddenly I was gone. Yeah, and so I got quite worried. I went to see my GP. They did all sorts of tests. They tried different sorts of medication, but they could not really find something that would make sense in the medical term. Yeah. So after a few months, my GP said, why don't you see a sophrologist? And being from Switzerland, sophrology, which is a modern type of meditation, was already all over the place. And people really were already using it since many years. But I hadn't heard of it. So I decided to give it a try. And I went to this amazing sophrologist who became my mentor for many years after that. And within 5 sessions of sophrology, where she guided me to a very simple combination of relaxation, breathing, visualization, and body awareness work, she recorded those audio guided session on the tape, and she said, go home, and every day you practice this for 10-12 minutes, and next week you come back. And within 5 weeks I literally recovered from that whole symptoms I had, never fainted again, had my energy back, my infection cleared, and I made me realize how much stress I was carrying that I wasn't aware of. And it made me not only physically better, but mentally so much more empowered of knowing who I am and what is the journey I want to take. And it just made me be in the driving seat of my life for the first time, I think. So
I mean, it's fascinating. And I look at you now, picture of health. You look amazing, and glowing eyes, beautiful skin, and so it's interesting to know that this is the journey that you've been on. You mentioned you described sophrology as Swiss meditation. So what does this approach offer over and above other modalities?
So it's a modern meditation. It doesn't really originate from Switzerland. It's coming from Spain, and it's been put together in the 60s by a neuropsychiatrist called Alfonso Caicedo. I was super lucky to actually train with him. He was a fantastic scientist, but also a very kind and open-hearted man, and he was passionate about consciousness. And so all his work was really about, in the 60s, which was quite early to have this desire to know consciousness, because at the time this wasn't the focus of medicine at all. So he decided to mix some of the Western techniques that were available at the time with Eastern principles, so and technique for consciousness. So he observed yogis and people doing meditation in India, in Tibet, in Japan, to understand how the essence of these practices were positively affecting consciousness. And then he created this unique system of healthcare and self-discovery, where every exercise you do and the combination of these exercises really positively impact consciousness. And the aim is to really bring a sense of harmony between mind and body, and to be able to unlock your inner resources, so that in daily life you can live the life that you want to live, and you be the person you are. Yeah. So so that's and then it rapidly spread from the medical world into the mainstream world, and especially in France, Switzerland, Belgium, and Spain. And to the point that now in Switzerland it's reimbursed by the health insurance. Yeah, so it's a very common thing to do, to seek advice from a sophrologist for stress problem, anxiety, sleep problems, to transform your life. Or yeah.
Okay. Now I know you have 3 clinics in London. You also have your online platform. Now, so as a sophrology practitioner, what would you say that you do in the field that others don't? What's unique to your work?
I think that first of all, my background in osteopathy. So I trained and practiced as an osteopath for 10 years. And I think it gave me a chance to really understand the mind-body connection, which sophrology works a lot on. So, seeing it at play with client, when you unlock the body, how the mind gets unlocked as well. And now with sophrology, how you really use this mind-body connection to open up new possibilities. So I think that has been, although I'm not an osteopath anymore now, but I look at people's posture, I look at people's with my osteopathic knowledge, I think. And I think because I've learned, how the limits of every practice, you can't cure everything, or you've got a limit as an osteopath, as a sophrologist. So I think having a very professional approach to my practice is also something I gained through learning to be an osteopath. So being safe, knowing when to refer to a doctor, knowing the limits of my practice and how you can combine it with other practices, so you've got a holistic understanding of the client. Like, for example, with Ayurveda sometimes, or body work, sometimes people need an holistic approach to their well-being, and one thing will work, but sometimes you need to combine it with other things. So I think I have an understanding of the self-care in a wider sense.
Yes, like you say, it's a 360-degree approach, isn't it? It's
totally
depending on what the individual needs. Are there particular conditions that this is very good for?
Yeah, I think a lot of people come to sophrology because they are anxious, they are overstressed, they are on the verge of burnout, and they are finding perhaps traditional meditation difficult to practice. So a lot of my clients say, I'd love to meditate, I'd love to find a space of calm within myself, but after a busy day, I find it very hard to sit down somewhere and be in that quiet state. So I think sophrology has got this lovely way, which involves a bit of movement, breathing, visualization work, that invites you at the pace you're ready, by also calming your body to help you enter this state of calm. And I think that's one of the reasons people seek for sophologists. And then I think they realize, oh, this is powerful. If I tune in that way within my body and mind, I'm feeling better. So therefore they start to understand the breadth of the work we can do with sophology, which is not only about feeling calmer, but is really about sometimes looking at the future in a different way, embracing your past in a positive way, learning to know your body in greater depth. There's a lot of components we can work with sophology just beyond the strict addressing this symptomatic issue that your body shows. Yeah,
he's experiencing. Yeah. Now, I know now. One of the things I've noticed in your content is you talk about how sophrology can help you to improve your life, for a better future. You talk about self-development. So tell us about that process. How does it help there?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of amazing philosophers out there and people who've written books on how you can connect with your true self, how you can use the law of attraction, how you can, transform your life on so many levels. But not a lot of them explain actually how are you gonna do this practically, yeah? Because it's one thing to understand a concept of how you can gain more empowerment through your daily life, but then when you go back to your life and perhaps struggle with a number of things, how do you start to build those new resources inside you? And I think sophology is very much a practical step that you're given to be able to apply these things in a very simple way. 12 minutes of practice a day, you listen to these recordings and you're guided into your own consciousness to unlock these things that we all have inside, our true self, our confidence, our empowerment, our hope in the future. These are all inside our consciousness. Yeah, so sophrology gives you that makes that bridge to make it practical, simple to access your next level of empowerment.
And how about therapeutic ways? So, for example, in Ayurveda, we have a number of different tools that we work with. One of the things I would first do when I'm working with a client is actually have a look at their diet, have a look at their nutrition,
yeah.
And then actually put together a bespoke program. And that program will include meditation techniques. It may also include body work, Ayurvedic body work, where we're working on certain energy points on the body. So it's a way of enhancing the flow of energy, within the body, where we may find some blocks that are causing some of the symptoms that we see. So with sophrology, it is also a therapeutic art. So can you explain a bit more about that to us?
Yeah, I think where's the limit between something that's therapeutic and that is self-care? Yeah, I think that's the big question. And I think these days every bit of self-care you do on yourself can become therapeutic. Being healthy means repetition, means a little bit of commitment, means more awareness. And I think, like any other practices, if you repeat sophrology on a daily or weekly basis, if you eat more often healthy stuff that really suits your body type, if you take care of your energy, all of this is healing. And I think yes, we can use sophrology sophrology is used in continental Europe in hospitals as well. Yeah, so people who have sleep issues, insomnia, they're gonna go through a more Western and traditional way of working with insomnia, and a sophrologist will be part of the team helping this patient to recover sleep. So we've seen that in pain management, post-traumatic stress, all the issue with food, anorexia. So yes, I think a sophrologist can definitely be at the heart of a therapeutic um, journey. I think, of course, always within knowing where the limit is and when is it you need to include other aspect of the journey.
Yes, yeah, or refer, as you know,
Exactly.
as may be the case as well. Yeah. So you have been, how long have you been in practice now?
I finished my studies of sophrology in 2006. Now we're 2020, but I think I've been kind of in the sophrology business since I'm 15-year-old. I mean, at least passionate and practicing it. Yeah. So I think it's been with me almost all my life. So I'm just breathing it, and I'm always with it. Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it finds you, doesn't it? Something like this, is it?
Yes.
You. What would be wonderful is to hear of some of the incidences of case studies that particularly stand out for you.
Yeah. All right. There's so many. No, I think a recent one is someone that hadn't had a proper night's sleep since 35 years. So a lady in her 70s who kind of lost her sleep when the children were kind of young and never managed to recover her sleep fully. And within 6 weeks of daily practices, she was extremely committed to these 15 minutes per day of practice. And she kind of had her first night's sleep after 6 weeks, and now it's been over 2 years that she probably says she has one bad night's sleep a month, yeah, and the rest of the time she's able to sleep. So that shows, the power of consciousness, the power of applying those simple tools to really unlock a resource that had gone a little funny. Yeah. I think I've seen amazing. I think every client is witnessing the amount of resilience every person has, and when someone decides to get better, I think that there's no limit to what their consciousness is able to engage with. And I think realizing that every client has got the power to transform their life if they apply the sophrology tools. So I've seen people changing jobs, I've seen people retraining, finding the confidence to set the right boundary within their families, sorting out some relationships, attracting a new person in their lives, so many, becoming a parent. I've worked a lot with infertility or fertility journeys. So I think, people finding the way towards a better life. I think I see it on a daily basis with sophrology.
Yeah, it's a, yes, I mean it's a quite a magical tool from my experience. And with the clients that you work with, is everybody's well-being journey the same?
Not at all. I think I haven't seen a well-being journey the same one ever. I think that's to be celebrated. I think you different people resonate with different approaches, and that's the beauty of it. And I think when you find what works for you or what works for a certain amount of time, and then you maybe explore something else. So I'm all in favor of trying or of seeing what works for your body, for your mind, and then creating your own routine of self-care, and also adapting it to the time you live in. When you're a mom, you probably have a different self-care routine than when you're not. When you commute a lot and you're traveling all over the world, you're gonna have a different routine than someone who has a home and always stays at the same place. So I think you have to work out what's working for you. And I think with technology now, more and more, we also have thankfully we can connect to a lot of different things, and that's the beauty of it as well, that wherever you are in the world you can practice an audio or do some kind of meditation to help you. Yeah.
In fact, we should actually share, you've been really active on social media these last few months. So
Yeah.
I think every day you've been running sessions, is that right?
Yeah.
Live on Instagram.
Yeah, three times a week we've been doing a sophrology session on my Insta account, and I wanted to participate in my humble way to this big turmoil we find ourselves in with the pandemic. And I really feel that sophrology is such an accessible tool that works quite quickly. And the response has been great. I think people are in a state where they need to learn those self-care tools, and they're looking for more serenity and confidence in this uncertain times. Yeah, and it's a time to go within, because the world outside has stopped and has completely changed. So the only way to remain calm and centered is actually to go within. Yeah, because outside everything changes every minute.
Yeah. Dominique, let's just talk a little bit about that. We are living in very different times. We're all going through this globally together, and everybody is experiencing and reacting quite differently, to what is happening. So what kind of health measures would you advise for people at the moment?
Do you mean in relation to the pandemic?
Yes, in relation to the pandemic. Yeah, what are some of the let's say 3 key things that you would recommend?
I think work on your sleep, because sleep is really key in maintaining a good immune system and maintaining your health. So if you experience sleep problem, that might be a good thing to start addressing, because it's so key for our health. I think learning to be more in the present moment, because I think if we are constantly worrying about the future, we might actually miss out some great opportunities and not even see them when they're finally coming our way. We probably need to be creative right now as well, because we can't always do things we're used to be doing the old ways. So I think learning to be more in the present through body awareness, through your breath, I think it's a key aspect of controlling a little bit those anxiety that also has an impact on health. Yeah, as soon as you worry about the virus, your immune system goes down. So all these kind of fears we all feel in the collective, and as an individual have to be looked after a little bit. And then I would say, we are social animals, so we need each other. So I think although there is a physical distancing, I think it's the time to reach out, to send that text to this old friend you haven't heard of, or check on your neighbors, and try to, rethink how we can help each other, and because connecting to other people really decrease your level of stress. Yeah. So I think it's such an important aspect of health as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. So Dominique, how can our viewers contact you?
So my website is b-sophro, it's sophro.com, like sophrology with PH. Or on my Instagram, it's bsophro London. On Facebook, I'm also at bsophro. And feel free to send me a message, or just you can watch some videos there, or try an audio and see how it feels. Yeah.
And when's your next Insta Live?
So it's on Sunday night. It's gonna be a session that I've decided to call Sophrology for Hope. It's actually something we do as a group of sophrologists. I'll be guiding the session, but we've decided to come together and really do this in a more global sense. Yeah. So we want to attract as many people as possible in the practice on Sunday night, and practice for our own well-being, but also come up with a positive a dose of optimism, yeah, for the world. And yeah, and then I'm preparing a sophrology challenge, if I can call it like this, without putting pressure on people, of course. We are going to do a challenge around positivity and optimism in 2 weeks' time, so people can also join again. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
So nice to talk to you.
It was great. Great to connect with you again. Thank you again, Dominique. Thank you.
Thank you.